But first, let's go straight to the on a National Fajita Day to the Game Time hotline and talk to our buddy Bobby Burton on Texas football with the very latest. Longhorns about 8 practices into this thing, and there's concern apparently. Let's talk to Bobby. Bobby, how are you?
Good. How you doing this morning, Aaron?
Doing good. I know you're doing a morning walk every day these days, trying to get yourself healthy, and that's gotten into the way of our normal 7:30 visit time. But I appreciate you making time at 7:45. Okay.
Happy to do it, buddy.
Hey, all right. There is a report out there about Trevor Goosby, and maybe something happened last night. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, apparently Trevor Goosby, according to a report by Amar Richardson, was injured yesterday at practice and will undergo some sort of diagnostic testing today. It was said to be a knee injury of some sort. I do not have more than that at this moment, but it's potentially a big blow for a Texas offensive line that up until this point has been looking much improved this fall camp from a year ago. The addition of Melvin Siani from Wake Forest, moving in Brandon Baker to offensive guard. Now, if Goosby is forced to miss any time, depending on the severity of this injury, which we don't know right now, it puts the offensive line back in a state of flux. It'll be interesting to see how Kyle Flood and Steve Sarkisian react to it, and who moves out the left tackle. Yeah,
that would be, and we obviously will cross that bridge when we get there, but it's been one of those, so far, knock on wood. Sark did it yesterday, but as I said to our audience, Bobby, and I know you'll talk about it on Texas football on the YouTube page today, that they've been going through walkthroughs in the morning, and then there's an afternoon or evening practice. Is that right? And that's maybe where this may have occurred? Because Sark didn't mention it yesterday morning.
Yeah, he did not mention it yesterday morning. He actually said the team's been very, very healthy, and maybe we should all knocked on wood at that time. I think that they don't always do walkthroughs in the morning and practice at night. That's something that they do. They switch up every so often, I think. But largely speaking, I think that, look, injuries happen in fall camp. They just do. You don't want them to be season ending. I can't think of a season where Texas didn't have some sort of injury going into a camp. The problem here is it's such a strategic player with your left tackle, and he's a guy that protects the blind side for Arch Manning. I hesitate to say the severity of it until we know more. I mean, we just don't know. He's supposed to undergo testing today.
Yeah, as you said, people get dinged up. This could be a minor situation, and we'll all follow. What other takeaways did you have from Sark? We heard from him on Saturday after the scrimmage, and the flu bug was, an issue, depleted their numbers, which, as Sark said, we treated it almost like a preseason NFL game with a lot of, one series for Arch and then a lot of backups, and then we had the flu situation. But back at it yesterday, a lot of guys were back from that bug. What were your takeaways from Sark, pretty much halfway through their training camp here?
To your point, there's been a lot of consternation around Ty Anthony Smith, the linebacker that returned to Texas last year, and whether or not he was going to be with the team. He returned to practice yesterday, and I thought that was really big news for Texas, because during Saturday's scrimmage, and Sark mentioned this in his post-scrimmage availability, Texas was running 3 true freshman linebackers in backup positions. Tyler Atkinson, Rocky Cummings, and Koziak Paula were all running with the 2s. That's a lot of youth at a very critical position. Raheem Biles was also out, as was Brad Spence. So Texas was thin at linebacker, and I think that getting Ty Anthony Smith back and up and running and practicing with the team was big. Also, he mentioned a couple other guys were back as well, coming back from the flu. But look, I'm looking at this team right now, and just the consternation over Trevor Goosby, the consternation over some different positions. Goosby is one of those guys that could put this offensive line in a state of flux and give you some real question marks going into this coming week.
Yeah, well, the good piece of news there, whatever it is, I thought him talking about Melvin Siani, and we'll play this for our audience next hour, but him saying, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought we were getting a pass protector when we were watching him on film, but He said Melvin Ciani's turned in. He's one of our toughest dudes. I mean, he is a downhill blocker, physical, loves physicality, and that at least makes you feel good that this guy's kind of like Bo Masco at the cornerback position. A couple of these portal guys have come in exceeding what they even thought they might be getting, it sounds like.
Yes, it does. And I wrote an article this morning on Texas football. Texas could have 9 portal transfers start for them this year. I mean, first-year portal transfers. Raleek Brown or Hollywood Smothers will start at running back. Cam Coleman will start at wide receiver. Michael Masunis will be, if not starting, at least in the rotation at tight end. Melvin Ciani starting. Lawrence Seymour, a real possibility to start. If not him, Dylan Sikorsky. And then over on defense, Ian Gerard, Justin Cryer at linebacker, Raheem Biles, and Bo Masco. I mean, the team has a number of different players that are first-year players that are going to start. And I think, you look at it, and it's a team that needed some help in the portal. I think they didn't just go out and reinforce their needs in the portal. I think they built on it. And I think that a number of these guys are going to show, I think they're going to have major impacts on how far this team goes in 2026.
No doubt about that. Bobby Burton on Texas football. He and his team will be covering what's going on Texas football throughout the day today on the YouTube page there at ontexasfootball.com, and everybody will be clicking in with the word on Trevor Goosby as that comes down. Bobby, let me ask you this, though. Last week was kind of a first preseason game. Safe to say this Saturday scrimmage, whoever's healthy or not, this is big as far as those final positional battles on the interior. Sark mentioned it yesterday. It'll be more like a dress rehearsal, closest they'll get until game time with Texas State in 18 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said that they're going to basically, after this weekend, the next week is going to be treated like game week. And part of the reason why is because school starts at the University of Texas on Monday. And with school starting, they're going to practice in the morning, get that out of the way, and go forward like it's a real game week. So they'll have a mock game essentially 2 weeks from now. This coming Saturday is a little bit different in that Sark's like wanting to solidify his 2 deep at that time. It sounds like. Now, obviously, there'll be some guys that go in and out, but this is the one where they want to try to see, okay, who are the 55 to 65 guys we're going to count on this year? And I think that that's going to be what this weekend's scrimmage is about. Sark said as much on Monday. Said, look, this is the time where we start, drilling down on what we need to do and who needs to be part of it. Look, Texas is in a good situation overall. This Goosby situation, though, is a question mark. If it's serious injury, hopefully it's not. Everybody needs to cross their fingers.
Agreed, 100%. And again, that's an Anwar Richardson tweet this morning, just recently, that Goosby injured his left knee in practice. He will be evaluated further this morning, and we will follow it, and so will Bobby and his team at On Texas Football. Thank you, Bobby. I know the YouTube channel will be buzzing today with that word. Cross your fingers, no doubt. Thanks for the visit this morning.
Have a good one, Aaron.